Good morning, everyone. Nice to have coffee with you again. Hope you had a nice weekend, a nice week. I'm back in Chicago. I don't know why. It was beautiful out in Arizona, but I'm back. And once again, I have a shout out to our Vincentians in Perryville, Missouri, especially those who are in need of healing. And also a personal shout out to people who have let us know that they are in need of God's healing. Remember Braden and Brian and Clarence and John and Leonard and Stan and Edie and Louise and Orstein and Pat. We're praying for your healing. Hope it happens soon. You know, I'm still going in my head the line, the end of the gospel from Sunday's Mass of the baptism of Jesus. And the line, it really was a voice from heaven, God saying, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." That's what I want God to say about me. In whom I am well pleased. I want to please him. So you know what I thought? My reflection then is on, I want to be professional like Jesus. Now, not professional like we have in our culture with sports, professional. He's an athlete who's paid and the amateur's not. No, I'm talking about being professional. And Jesus was professional. He did things well. And so I've been thinking about that a lot, of what it takes to be professional. I know what not. I'll tell you a story about George. He's 89 years old, and he lives in a retirement community, and it's also that there are people who are younger who can choose to live there. And so, there's a younger guy that likes George, and he sees him, and they talk every day, and the young guy, he knows George has got a lot of money. And so the young guy, he's an investor. So one morning he tells George, he said, "Hey, George, I can tell you what. I can double your money in 5 years." And George just laughs at him. He said, 5 years? I don't even buy green bananas. And so I know how not to be professional. But one of the things I noticed about Jesus is that he was very thorough. He didn't just, feed half of the 5,000. He didn't fill just half the water jars to turn into wine so half the people in the wedding could enjoy it. He didn't just, cure one eye of a blind man. He was thorough. And he always seems to care about the person he's serving. It was always about the other. I think that's a real sign of a professional. It's not about me, it's about you. January is my time to take the healthcare world tour. You know what I mean? I think you might have taken it. In January, I see my cardiologist, my dentist, my eye doctor, my orthopedic surgeon, and I started watching. And I was thinking back of watching professionals be professional. My cardiologist, and take the EKG, and it's all good, but he spots one little speck on that readout. And so he tells me about it, and he said, it could have been just the leads that are put on your chest. And so I'm going to have him do it again. He said, "I don't think there's anything serious, but I want to check it." So when he has the nurse come back in and do another hookup and do the EKG, he comes in. And he just checks all the leads himself. And they run it. And it's fine. What he thought it was, just the lead, probably wasn't secure to my chest. But he's thorough. He wanted to do it right. My dentist is the same way. I needed a crown replaced, and he could have just replaced the crown. But no, he wanted to check the whole tooth out. And I've had them done before, not something I say, hey, how about we're doing one of these? He had to do a root canal. But he was professional. And he wanted to do the best for me. And I think that's a real sign of a professional. He's thorough, pays attention to details, and wants it best for you. And so that's something that I'm going to pay more attention of what I do, to pay attention to the little details and not cut corners or not just to do it, but to do it well and use the professionalism that Jesus showed us. Genuinely care. It's not about me, it's about you. Be thorough. I even start paying attention to checkers. And no matter where you go, you can see those who are professional who aren't. Some, they follow all these to be professional, and they care, and they genuinely care, they're thorough, they pay attention to details. You can tell. You can go to a fast food place, you can tell the ones who are professional and the ones who aren't. I want to be that, and I think the more I pay attention to details, the more I'm concerned about you and not me, and the more that I'm thorough, I will be professional. And then, I'm pretty sure, when we're professional, God can easily say, this is my beloved, in whom I am well pleased. And there's nothing wrong with pleasing God. Isn't that the best person to please? And His Son gave us a good example of how to do that. So anyway, there's a lot of times and things just don't go well, and things aren't done thorough, and people are hurting, and people are sick, and we need God's help. So that's why we say the mission prayer. I'd like you to take yours out and join me as we say together, Divine Savior, transform me into yourself. May my hands be your hands. May my tongue be your tongue. Grant that every faculty of my body may serve only to glorify you. Above all, transform my soul and all its powers, that my memory, my will, and my affections may be the memory, the will, and the affections of you. I pray you to destroy in me all that is not of you. Grant that I may live but in you, and by you, and for you, and that I may truly say with St. Paul, I live now, not I, but Christ lives in me. God bless. Glad you could join us, and join us again next week. Don't forget, check out our website during the week too, especially on Wednesday. That's the VPMC.org. See you next week.